Welcome to Light, Laughter, and Lattes. My name is Geri Habstritt, and my co-host, Patty Peterson, are glad to be here with all of you today on this middle of May Wednesday. Just coming out of the release, not full release of a Mercury retrograde. We're still in the post phase, but the main part of it is released. And so I'm guessing that most of you are probably noticed this big retrograde and also a shift now as the release came through. And then we're moving right into a new moon on Friday. So seems to be a lot going on lately energetically with eclipses and new moons and full moons and all kinds of stuff that is offering us the opportunity for expansion, for revelations. And so we're going to talk all about that a little bit today, especially this retrograde brought us all into the core. And so the core is about, center of resurrection energy. So have you noticed this core energy, what may be in the center of you? And so we're going to be talking about that today. But first, we want to give a shout out. Hi, B. Glad to see you're here, or Batia. And, and she sang 11 days till Egypt. So
yes, us three will be there.
You will be there. Yes. And so if you happen to be listening to us today via Oneness Talk Radio, YouTube, or Facebook, jump in the chat and say hi. Hi, Geri. Glad you're here. And if you are listening to this via Spotify or one of the other podcasts, come on over and visit us in the chat. We have a great group of people here. We're live most Wednesdays. Sometimes we aren't here, but most of the time we're here on Wednesdays at, it's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 3 o'clock Pacific Time. So, jump in and say hi. So, okay. So our topic today, living in the core, which is, the core is at the very core of our being, what is there. And what I have learned is the core often contains both sides of an energy. So you may have noticed this past month or two that you're being brought to the essence of you and being shown what is there. And usually it's what is there that needs to be healed for you to be complete or to be in your wholeness or in oneness. And I was clearly shown my core. Patty, did you get a clear glimpse of your core?
You're saying the truth of who we are, that part? Or what needs to be healed to access and live from that more deeply?
Well, what really, it's a lot about what needs to be healed. And
Correct.
Then it's like both sides of it too.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The polarity. Yeah. Every person right now is getting that opportunity. Something is coming up for healing, correct? Mm-hmm. And sometimes it looks like more than one thing. I mean, there's layers. Absolutely. And as medical intuitives, we often relate it to which chakra, right? And Geri and I were just chatting right before we started here. And we both have some stories to share. And, for me, it's been a lot of heart healing, deeper, and my mind to go, I've been doing that for so long, right? That's the good old ego. And here's another opportunity. And as each one of us does another layer of our healing, we impact the whole.
Right. My core is similar to yours. So when the core first came out, where this was, okay, we're in our core now, I could not avoid the love signs. So I would be driving down the road. I've driven down this freeway. I can't tell you how many times. There's a gigantic billboard that says love across it. Love. I swear it just appeared. I have never seen it there before. Mm-hmm. Then I go to substitute teach at the school, and alongside one whole wall is this gigantic painting, like love is all that matters. I'm like, there it is again, that love, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm in my car, parked in, not just waiting at a stoplight. I can't tell you how many signs I get in front of these stoplights with people's
Yeah.
license plates.
License plates and bumper stickers and oh yes.
Yeah, license plates, and there it was, love. Love again. And
Mhm.
so, and the love for me, because love is such a big thing, and we've done shows on this. I mean, how
Mhm.
many of you have heard over and over again, love yourself more, love yourself even more? And many people mistake that for self-care.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to go get a
Yep.
massage. I'm going to take
Yep.
care of my feet. I'm
And
going to
that's a
take
good starting place, but go ahead.
Right, right. I mean, that's all really self-care, but you can still not love yourself, but care for yourself.
Yes.
And so the self-love for me was about letting go of judgment of myself
Yes.
for how far I have gone or haven't gone and how long it's taken me.
Mhm.
And I got to this core of um, I'm not doing enough fast enough. And
Yes.
And I
Yes.
know where that comes from. Yeah, and
Mhm.
this anger at myself for not being able to do enough fast enough. Why am I still here
Mhm.
after this many years? Why am I still taking these classes why am I still healing my heart after all these many years, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
this real anger, and it goes
Mhm.
back to my core. My core was lifetimes of really literally beating myself up,
Right.
punishing myself, self-punishment
Mhm.
for not helping people fast enough. For
Mhm.
when we've had a lifetime where the planet didn't make it, and I thought I should have done
Yep.
more to help it, right?
Mhm.
And so in this lifetime, it's like, okay, I've been on this path of self-ascension for 15 years. And why are we still working on these lower three chakras? Why, right? And it went on and on and on. And
Mhm.
the messages that was coming to me was, do the forgiveness practice again. Well, then
Yes.
that just made me livid because what do you mean? I've done this
I've
forgiveness
done that so much.
50 times. I got to do forgiveness on the forgiveness practice. I'm not doing the damn thing again. That's the problem here. And wow, it was just there was a lot there that I didn't realize.
Mhm.
And what a
Mhm.
gift, because this
Absolutely.
anger and frustration at myself was breaking things, was making everything stuck, was
Mhm.
making nothing go right. I could order things, they would show up wrong, end up in the
Mhm.
wrong spot.
Mhm.
People would they would sell me something and they wouldn't
That's right.
complete the
Yep.
sale and they wouldn't respond back to me. My
Mhm.
hairdresser colored my hair wrong and promised that she would fix it, and 3 phone calls and a note later and she didn't call me back. And so I was creating things to not work out anywhere in my life so as to trigger this anger to help me really, release
As an
this.
opportunity to see all of this as a gift,
Yes,
right?
yes. If well, really, it just makes you more mad.
Love that, man. Yes.
So yeah, so I had a lot of this, and so I did the forgiveness practice again because I'm aware enough to know that if I'm resisting anything, I need to do it.
We might take the moment and say, okay, I hear you, ego, you're in resistance. I'll give you 5 minutes or whatever.
No, no, just the first item on my forgiveness practice was I unconditionally forgive and release this forgiveness practice. You're not working well enough.
Yeah, purify last time.
And actually, I don't want to say that because that forgiveness practice worked
It's
beautifully. It helped
powerful.
me
Mhm.
release all my density stuff. But
Mhm.
as you are on the path of self-ascension, there's dimensions. You go from the third to the fifth to the seventh to the ninth, right? And as we go, each of these dimensions has their own gateway. And with that gateway comes energies that you need to resolve to get through them. You can visit them if you get into a very high frequency state, but you won't anchor yourself until you've, like the seventh dimension is releasing judgment, right? And
Yeah.
so you
So I
can't
would,
anchor yourself there until you've done that. So I had to go about another forgiveness practice for really my ascension path. It was like an ascended forgiveness.
mm-hmm.
You know, I forgive the angels for not doing a good enough job that it took me 15 years. If they were on spot, okay, Zadkiel, where were you? So a lot of my forgiveness was really funny, but it was to my guides for why weren't you making things clearer? And
Sure. That's a beautiful reminder. A practice that we do as medical intuitive healers, quantum healers, is helping people as we claim the gift of whatever we've been, going through, the challenge, the stickiness, or recognizing the judgment. Then when we do this forgiveness, not only of ourselves, our body, correct, Jer? Like, I forgive you, body, for carrying this all this time.
right.
And then God and the universe, or in this case, our guides and helpers, for creating a world where one could suffer as I have suffered, or in the way I've perceived I've suffered. And it's amazing. I've seen and witnessed, not only myself, but clients, that area just pours out the tears and the purifying when we touch that piece. And so you bring forward some good points. And along with, can we even laugh at ourselves and not always be so serious? Don't you think of Archangel Zadkiel in one of those ensoulments?
Yep, absolutely.
Too serious there. Too serious.
Serious, yes. Well, I have to say, I made it through the 7 days religiously, sat by the table, put a candle there, did the 7 days. The next morning, after I did the 7 days, I felt so amazing. Like I was crying all morning, tears of gratitude, so happy to be alive. Went out dancing that night. Okay, so I go dancing at this place called the Buffalo Club. And so it's a lot of country dancing. And there's this man there who's in his 80s. He used to be a fabulous dancer. He used to dance with his granddaughter, and they would compete and travel around the world together. And she passed away of breast cancer. And so he would come out dancing, and I loved to dance with him. Because he's just this great dancer. And he'd showed up the week before, and I told him I'm going on my journey to Egypt, and he was, wishing me well and such. So he shows up the following Saturday night when I finished my practice, and he shows up at 11:45, right? I'm thinking about leaving and going home.
Yeah, for an 80-year-old. Wow.
He flies his own plane. He works all over the place. He was getting up at 6:30 in the morning to go farming, and he shows up at the Buffalo Club at midnight. And he says, come here. I got a little something for you. And he hands me a envelope with $1,000 in it and says, this is for you. You're going to Egypt. You're going to need some spending money.
Wow. Beautiful work. It's showing the receiving side, the root chakra.
Well, and the letting go of all that angst towards myself, which was the self-love. Yes. So, yep, immediate results on that one.
That is beautiful. Yes. So in our core, there's, like you were mentioning, these levels, these layers, and especially where we're at right now, right, Jer? As far as we're ever refining, ever evolving. So any small amount of greater insight or awareness that anybody gets is a gift to be celebrated.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. This retrograde was so huge. There was just so many. There was a lot of reflections and a lot of revelations, especially around, the healing, and how to heal, like things for me that I've been working at for quite a while, but didn't know the details. and the retrograde would literally put people right in front of me, giving me answers about things and what I had to look at a little bit more. Wondering if everyone else had that same clarity.
There you go.
Um,
There you go.
I know. How about you? What all did this retrograde reveal to you?
Yeah, I know there were moments of things like that, and I don't always retain my stories as well as you. Write them down to remember. Um, but there were definitely what I'm noticing is with this shift in energy with myself and with, again, clients showing up in my office, is the layers of past lives that are releasing just like this. You don't have to necessarily, maybe useful at some time to do, past life regression, cosmic life, but I am seeing remnants of that come up when I sit and do a meditation, especially on a certain body area. There's flashes of these things coming up that are powerful, and like, in case anybody else has that, or you can even have it in your dreams, and sometime it can be coming from a past life if you have a theme show up, and is to acknowledge it and witness, and it, is there a gift I'm claiming from this, and then to release and do some extra love on the body and that part. So that's something that's been very evident in this last month for myself and some clients too.
Right. And I'm thinking about how differently, you and I both receive
Yes.
information, right? You touch the body part and you connect with a past life and
Mm-hmm.
have that experience. I have never been shown any of my past lives, but
Okay.
yet, and when I connect with the body part, I don't get that. But what does happen is in my dream state, I'm taken places and I'm, shown
Yeah.
differently in my
Yeah.
dream.
Yes.
So, like you're aware of, I've been going through this parasite thing, and
Mm.
that was one of the things that I was clear about, that I was made very clear. I've been losing a lot of hair, and as everyone knows, that's an ascension symptom. But for me, it's been beyond an ascension symptom, and
Going
I
on.
couldn't figure out why, And I was just shown yesterday very clear that it was because of this parasites. And so this parasite thing has been happening for some time.
Mhm.
And I was getting ready to go. Oh, no. I just did this big master cleanse through this retrograde. I'm like, I'm going to help these energies move. I'm going to stop eating, do the master cleanse, and help them move out of me faster.
Mhm.
And with that, I did they're called colloidal silver enemas. They'll help kill the parasites. So I did about 4 days in a row of those. And in my dream state, this energy comes right in front of me. And it was dressed, kind of like the Ku Klux Klan, but without the pointed hat, in like a burlap colored suit. And it was right in front of me, and it threw its arms inside of me and tried to rip my organs out. It
Wow.
was very harsh energy, and I screamed no, hopped out of bed, and said, no, that's enough. And I was shown afterwards that that was the energy releasing in me, and I witnessed it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been working on, so it was good. And then the next, I
Yeah.
actually felt quite amazing, even though I
Yes.
had this horrible experience.
Right. And which is similar in a way of a past life flushing through, you feel, because I witnessed this trauma and then pop out of it, and then there's a little after effect as it resolves. And so
Right.
it's a beautiful point to bring forward to anybody, that we all process and get our information a little different, but to trust your way. Because it can be easy to say, well, I don't do it like her, maybe there's something wrong with me, or that comparison or something like that. And
Right.
to trust our own way that our information is gained, which is
Mhm.
a big part of this, our revelations, our insights, our awareness, and then how to heal that, clear, and lift.
Yeah. 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 It's really, you really just need to get in tune with yourself and
Yes.
how it is that you receive your information. And
Yes.
it's like your soul will talk to you in the energy that in the language you speak.
Right.
And it,
Just like we've witnessed for years, right, Jerry? You're such a feeler. You
mhm,
feel things and know. I get quick pictures,
right,
right? We both, and so how valuable that we all have our own way to add to the beautiful tapestry.
right. I get my pictures at night when this thing is shut off.
There we go.
When it's completely shut off and shut down, I get the full story.
Yes. Yes. Um, any other points you're bringing forward here about this
Um,
core? I know, the piece too about um, holding peace no matter what's going on around us. Are many of you witnessing a lot of chaos out there? And I'm
yeah,
seeing that, and even in these weather changes, we had in May, we got a winter storm. Who wants snow in May?
yeah,
And that affected how a lot of people felt, and there was a lot of anger. And it could have been easy to go there because I'm like, I want to go work in my garden. I want to work on flowers, and it's been a dark, cold air period, and that can affect, that not seeing the sun,
right,
and that practice continually of like, okay, despite what's going on out there, how do we hold that still center?
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
hold the core.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Exactly.
When we've had, and it's odd because we don't have storms or rain usually this time of
Mm-hmm.
year.
Mm-hmm.
We get a storm almost every day, a little one.
Yeah.
You know,
Interesting, huh?
not a big one, but one every day, and it's like, "What is up with this?" These little
Yes, the earth is talking. I was
Yeah.
on a mastermind group this morning, and they're saying they had just the most amazing electrical storm in their area last night. And a girlfriend came into town, and the canyon where they live in Colorado has closed. It's so filled with water. And there's like big, big opportunities happening.
Right, right. Well, and I guess I'm noticing the kids, so because I've been doing a lot of substitute teaching this
Mm-hmm.
past week,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, it's getting to be the end of the year, so they're rambunctious, but, yesterday, anyway, I'm noticing a lot of people really distracted with their
Ah,
cell phones. I mean,
yeah.
over the top distracted. I mean, even people walk, the green belt, we have this 30 miles of gorgeous trails and all the trees are flowering. So you're under a canopy of pink and white flowers. And
Mm-hmm.
how can you not be I'm standing under the trees, just breathing it in, touching them, feeling them. And people are walking by looking at their phones, riding their bikes, talking on their phones.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
Not even seeing or knowing where they're even going, and so I'm noticing a lot of that.
Yes. Yes. I really felt I came through the airports. I was traveling, and wow, the energy there was that a challenge. I'm glad we'll be traveling, and well, some of it as a group. I guess we all got to get there separately, but numbers of us to help hold that because the airport really felt bumpy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Just
it's definitely getting interesting. Well, and now we've got this full moon, or not full moon, but new moon on Friday,
Mhm,
which I think is gonna be fabulous because we were all taken to the core, and
mhm.
because we were in a retrograde, which caused us to look and heal, and I know the amount that I released in this retrograde was enormous, like, I didn't even know I still had that much to still release, right?
Yes,
The more you keep saying yes, the more you have to clear out of the way to get to your
the
yeses, so
self-responsibility there,
yeah.
absolutely. And how many are benefiting by you doing that work too, Jerry? That goes
Yeah.
out far, far and
Well,
beyond.
and I have a couple comments on that just because it is easy to forget, and you and I have
Mhm.
shared this, that it is so easy to focus on the negatives. Not
Mhm.
focused, but to be reminded how far you haven't gone or how much you're
That's
still
it.
doing something,
Not good enough of this piece or whatever. Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And not seeing. So we do this exercise of celebrating for 2 weeks before we went to
Yes.
bed every night to remind us of all the good things that
That's
we know we have done, right?
that's such a good practice. Anybody that, to help connect to your core, your truth. What
Yeah.
can you celebrate every night before going to bed? That
Yeah.
was so good for me.
Right. So one of the things that happened to me during my core, besides all of this, um, release of the beating myself up and judgment, I taught what was it, probably eighth grade class. And one of the young gals walked in before the rest of the class. And she said, "Oh, you're teaching us today." And I said, "No, I'm not teaching you anything. You're working on a research project that your teacher
Mhm.
started you guys with yesterday." And she said, "Oh, no, you've got a lot to teach us, even if you don't even say a word."
Whoa. Bright one. Love that.
Yes. I'm like,
That-
wow.
Yes.
So how easy it is to forget. So that was a good reminder for me
I,
that always doing something with the work
yeah,
I do, even though I'm not aware, even though I show up
be
to
in
teach
your
and I'm
presence
sitting there
isn't,
doing nothing.
yeah. I went to visit my grandson, two of them, 5 and 7. And the 5-year-old went through a real challenge a couple of months ago. He had gotten really sick with influenza A. And after that, he was not himself. He was irritable. He didn't want to wear clothes to school. He was, it was so challenging. And that is not his natural. He is a light bubble, happy, joyful. And they gave it some diagnosis that can happen after illness. I don't know what label they put on it. And, I would tune in, and I wasn't physically with him at that time, and do some clearing. And, the parents gave me full permission. And this time when I was there, we started to have a little conversation about that. And he looked at me. He said, "Yeah, Nana, you helped get that icky, mean boy off of me, and your magic kiss made me well."
Ah, yeah, I'm feeling that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He knew.
They
This is,
do. They know. Aren't they
yeah,
fun?
yes, on so many dimensions, we are all connecting,
Mm,
healing,
yes.
and those little reminders. At the time, I wasn't sure what was, if anything, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. I had another one of those 2 days ago too. I think it was 8th graders, and one of the boys walked in and he's like, "Oh, you're my favorite substitute teacher. You've been subbing in art a lot." And I said, "Yes, I have." He goes, "God, I love it when you sub." He goes, "There's just this energy of peace around, and I can just sink into my chair and get to my art."
Oh,
Wow.
yes, yes.
It's great to hear it from these young kids to that,
Good.
junior high kids are
Yes.
saying these things.
Right. That each one of us, as we continue to listen and do our own healing. I was at a funeral some time back and sat next to a woman I just know casually,
Mhm.
and or the funeral home, whatever you call it, the wake. And we weren't quite in there. And I sat by her there and chatted briefly and sat. Then I left, and I received a message later, and she said, "I received so much peace by you sitting on side of me." She said, "This whole wave passed over me, and I sat there and felt so peaceful." You think, I was kind of sad. It was an old elderly friend of mine that died, and I was having my human experience. And to receive that message after was, trust exactly where we are, who
Yes.
crosses our path, where we feel called to be.
Yep.
There's so much more going on than I call my little pea brain may know.
Yes, Patty, I had the same exact experience as you. But it was
Mhm,
several years ago, and it was on an airplane, and a
mhm,
gal was sitting across the seat across the aisle from me, and she was starting to have little panic attacks.
mhm.
And, the same thing happened, and after we landed the plane, she came up to me and said, "You're the only reason why I made it. I can feel your peace."
Oh,
And she goes,
wow.
"You brought me through this." And,
Mhm.
she ended up being a client of mine for several years after
Wow.
that. And
Yes.
was really nothing, I said or did. It was
No.
just being there.
Embody.
He had
Yeah.
an awareness and a knowing that
Mhm. Mhm. Beautiful. And what a gift, that piece. Root chakra anchored.
yes.
Till we get our next up level.
Yeah, good for a while. I know that was part of my frustration too, is like, how am I supposed to enjoy all the things I enjoy in life when we're constantly being up leveled? What good is any of this if I can't, go and do the things I love to do if I'm That's exactly, you get knocked off your rocker, you each up level, and you gotta find your way back to it again.
Mhm. Yeah, so finding the gifts.
Okay, so let me see. Do you have your cards of clarity?
Would you believe I still didn't get my firm set, but I got my papers? They
All
shipped
right.
out.
Well,
Yep,
wanna shuffle through and pick one, and
I
I'll
will.
shuffle through and
For
pick
this
one as
group,
well?
for us right now, what is it that we most need to connect with? Send Master 3.
Wouldn't that be funny if we picked the same one?
What do you have?
All
You
right,
ready?
you go first, and I'll go second.
Ascended Master 3 is El Moira.
Ah,
I'm
okay.
feeling
Oh
that.
my goodness.
And what is yours?
I got similar message. Benevolent one's 10.
Okay. So El Moira is saying all doubt energy creates the illusion of indecision. Ready or not, and you are. The time to release doubt is upon you. Ask yourself, why do I doubt? Regardless of what the answer is, acknowledge the energy. Through this acknowledgement, the gateway to full self acceptance swings wide open. At the place where all doubt is released, it is time to trust yourself with the knowing that universal support is here now. You are a competent and powerful decision maker. Let go of vacillating. Trust your decisions and claim ever greater peace, love, and joy. Definitely witnessed doubt energy in myself through these last weeks. And
Okay, this one's definitely similar. Benevolent one's 10, which is step into the void without hesitancy, and hesitancy is doubt. So basically similar. You
Mhm.
are benevolent energy in action. To embody this step, you are invited to release self-imposed limits and judgment. The essence of benevolence is kindness, and the intention of kindness is benevolence in action. How can you be kind when you hold limits towards yourself and judgment of others? The first benevolent act you can offer is the one that frees you from the chains of chaos and suffering by walking your path without hesitation, as it is holding the limits. Hesitation creates the false judgments. You are free to be kind, and it is your birthright.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah, there's finer, how would you put it, Geri? Like these finer remnants of, at least in my awareness, of where the doubt or the judgment may be. They're
mhm.
not always real blatant,
Right.
right?
Yeah, yeah, you definitely have to be aware,
Mhm.
and you have to be wanting to better yourself to even notice these.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm ready to release the blinders of denial.
right, right. Be more
Yeah. And sometimes we feel a little vulnerable or shaken during it, perhaps. And that's where that slathering of that self-love Geri was talking about. And that is fully accepting exactly where we are. That
exactly. Yeah,
that's like self-love. I'm accepting myself even with this going on in my life in this moment as it's passing through or whatever. I
right,
love myself as I am and as I am not. When
right.
our mentor Shri said that the first time, it just really hit me. What a
Mhm,
perfect mantra.
right. And
Mhm.
letting go of the should've, would'ves, and could'ves. That's
Mm.
a huge
How
one
often
too.
do those come in the head as an old pattern we've been attached to, right?
Right.
Oh, I should have, I've a few things like that flashed through recently too, in an interchange of going, well, I should have said this, or I could have been, whoa. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And that even reminds me too, some of my forgiveness practice was
Mhm.
even forgiving my gifts,
Oh.
because
Mhm.
part of my judgment was I've had a vision for years what my highest potential for this
Mhm.
lifetime is like.
Mhm.
And it
Mhm.
was because of this vision that gave me the expectations. And when I haven't reached the
Oh.
expectations, there's the anger.
Oh. Yes. Good point.
So it's, well,
Mhm.
God bless my vision. You know, that was part of I'm like, I'm having to forgive the fact that I even have this vision. Had I not had this vision, I wouldn't have had the expectation. I went
Yeah.
to, and even part of it was the knowing, like knowing that this is where I'm meant to be. This is my path. And
Mhm.
well, then that knowing also created expectation.
Yes.
Maybe around
Yes.
time, maybe
Yep.
I still will
Time's
get
a
there.
big one, right? Time's a big one. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so it really was, an ascended forgiveness of really
That is. Mhm.
fine-tuning where these judgments came from, because I'm like, "Wow, I'm really,"
Mhm.
had I
Yeah.
not had the vision or the knowing, I wouldn't have been so upset about where I am right now.
That's a really good point. Mhm. Yep. Because sometimes when we have those, then we can inadvertently have a sense where we might try to control more
Mm,
than we realize. I've been
right.
noticing finer tuning too around, wow, maybe I'm trying to control this to turn out the way I had this flash or this vision versus surrendering and allowing the universe to show me with my appropriate action
Mhm.
steps. But control has been a big
Right.
piece for the last months.
Yes, I went through that as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yep, same thing. So, yeah, it's hard not to. Our minds and our egos want to control. That's what they do. So, it's an
Yeah.
ever refining process to be able to let go of the role of the mind and the ego and allow the soul to do its job, and then trusting the soul that it's taking care of it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Good point. Yep. I like the practice of going to 10,000 feet
Yes.
when it start getting too sticky in there. Hmm.
Yep, and lifting way, way, way up and seeing it all from a distance, it does make a difference.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, everyone. Well, now that we have all those big energies, we've been to our core, we've hopefully healed a lot of it during that retrograde. I don't know how you could have made it through without healing something. It was big for me. So now we're like all cleaned out, and we get to create from this new
New
core,
moon. Yes.
right? This new moon on Friday. So
Hmm.
let all your creations be ever more amazing. I know one thing: if you've had a dream or a big vision, you are going to be this much closer to it, because anything that you've cleaned out during that retrograde was in the way of that vision, was in the way of that dream. So each time we do this work, we get closer and closer to that vision of what we know to be true. And not only do we know to be true, but it's already happened elsewhere in another dimension. So it's beyond
Yes.
creating it. It's like really it's just a receiving of it.
Very true. Stay open to receive.
Yeah, so put your wishes out there. Time to start getting
Play and yes, be
get your wishes
creative this
together.
weekend. Yes.
Absolutely.
What brings us joy?
Absolutely. Okay, everyone. Well, have a, fabulous new moon. And until next time,
Thank you for joining.
yeah, namaste.
Namaste.